To our amazing viewers at Midnight Affairs Tales, welcome and thank you. Your presence makes these stories worth sharing. We'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know now. Let's dive into today's story, Chapter 1. The porch light flickered. Through the half-closed blinds, Logan Hart saw him tucking his son into bed like he belonged there. No one screamed. No one called security. Because his wife had told them he was dead. The rain hadn't touched Logan. Not really. He stood under the overhang of a neighbor's tree, soaked through, jaw clenched, eyes locked on the shadowy figure now closing his son's bedroom door like a father would. Like he used to. Like he should have been. The house hadn't changed. Gray siding, black shutters, the wreath on the door made of pine cones and ribbon. His garage tools were probably still in the shed. But his name wasn't on the mailbox anymore. It read, Bennett, not Hart. Logan blinked, unsure if his soaked lashes were blurring the letters, or if that stranger had really moved in that deep. He didn't knock. He didn't cry. He pulled out his phone and took 3 quick photos. One of the mailbox, one of the stranger through the window, and one of his son, Daniel, smiling in pajamas with a book in his lap. Then Logan turned around and disappeared back into the rain. 6 hours earlier, the military plane had landed on an unmarked strip outside Virginia. Logan's boots hit the ground with a familiar thud, one he used to associate with homecoming. With purpose. Now, it just sounded like a countdown he hadn't agreed to. The assignment had been classified. 18 months under, off the radar, operating deep within hostile territory with 0 civilian communication allowed. No calls. No letters. No birthdays. But he'd made it out. Alive. Barely. The one thing that kept him going was the image of Daniel's tiny arms around his neck. Emily's relieved face. The 3 of them in the kitchen, laughing over cereal at 3 a.m. like they used to. So when he reached out to Emily on the drive back, blocked. Then tried her mom. Her sister. Voicemail. Voicemail. Silence. He thought maybe they thought he was dead. But that didn't explain the replacement on the porch. Logan dried off inside a cheap motel 3 towns over. He stared at the 3 photos he'd taken. Daniel's smile hurt the most. The man's face was partially hidden, but Logan knew that body language, relaxed, casual, entitled. Like he belonged there. He needed answers. But not rage. Not yet. So the next morning, he visited the local records office. And that's when the second betrayal hit. Logan James Hart, officially deceased, the woman at the desk said, clicking through the system. Listed as Kia. Next of kin signed off 8 months ago. She turned the screen, and there it was. His name. His death date. A PDF of the certificate. Filed by Emily Hart. He didn't make a scene. He just nodded, thanked her, and walked out like a ghost in broad daylight. That night, Logan watched the house again. Same porch light. Same stranger. Same bedtime routine. But this time, Daniel laughed, and the sound cut him like glass. The stranger, Ben, as Emily had once mentioned an old co-worker by that name, kissed Daniel's forehead, and Logan's knuckles turned white. He didn't sleep. He researched. By sunrise, he knew Ben's full name, Ben Clayton. Corporate sales. Moved into the area 8 months ago. Same month, Emily filed the death certificate. She hadn't waited long. Or maybe, just maybe, she didn't wait at all. Logan didn't confront anyone. Not yet. He rented a car under a fake name. Opened a new phone line. Started tracking bank accounts he used to share. Most were empty. One had been closed. His joint savings? Transferred to an account under Clayton and Hart Consulting, LLC. Consulting? Emily didn't know the meaning of the word. She was a high school art teacher. But Ben? He had a degree in finance. The betrayal wasn't emotional. It was strategic. They hadn't just replaced him. They erased him, then built a new life on his bones. On the 3rd night, Logan parked 2 houses down. He had a long lens camera now. A burner phone. A notebook filled with observations. Every detail mattered. 7:45 p.m., Daniel brushes his teeth. 7:52 p.m., lights off in the hallway. 8 p.m., Ben exits bedroom. 8:04 p.m., Emily kisses him in the hallway. Her hand lingers on his chest. Logan didn't flinch. He just wrote it down, line after line, like a soldier planning a final operation. Because this wouldn't end in violence. Not yet. It would end in evidence. And evidence was what they never expected him to come back with. Logan sat inside the unmarked black sedan he'd rented under the name Brian Shaw, a thermos of black coffee in one hand and a folded legal pad in the other. The car hadn't moved in hours, parked beneath the dead branch of a maple tree on East Haverhill Lane, close enough to see the house, far enough to avoid suspicion. It had been 4 days since he returned. 4 days since he'd stood in the rain and watched a stranger kiss his son goodnight. 4 days since he found his own death certificate, with his wife's signature on it. He hadn't said a word to anyone. Not because he was scared, because silence was his sharpest weapon now. Silence would give him time to build something she didn't expect, a perfect takedown. 7:01 a.m., porch light on. 7:05 a.m., Ben exits with Daniel, both in matching jackets. Emily appears in the doorway, holding a thermos. 7:06 a.m., she kisses Ben on the cheek. Daniel waves. The SUV pulls out. Routine. Calm. Polished. Like they were a real family. Like he was the ghost. But Logan noticed what others wouldn't. A second phone in Ben's breast pocket. A flicker of panic when Daniel almost knocked over a satchel in the garage. A locked drawer in the office Emily used to call hers. Those things. They weren't just details. They were entry points. Logan waited for the neighborhood to empty out before moving. He approached the house like a contractor. Tool belt, clipboard, sunglasses, hat low. The Ring doorbell didn't buzz. Good. The software he installed 2 nights ago had looped the last 60 seconds of quiet footage, giving him a small but powerful window. 2 minutes. He unlocked the side gate. It hadn't changed. Still squeaked at the end. Sliding open the shed door, he reached behind the panel where he used to keep Daniel's inflatable pool and smiled when he found what he hoped for. A rusted lockbox labeled LH. His initials. Untouched. Inside. A burner phone from 2022, one of his old Navy IDs, a small external hard drive, and a black leather notebook with names, accounts, and secure codes he hadn't used in years. Insurance. Just in case. And now he needed it. Back at the motel, Logan plugged in the external drive. Folder after folder loaded up, training logs, digital receipts, buried conversations, shared emails between Emily and her sister. He skimmed the ones from last year. Found a few from when he first deployed. One stood out. From Emily's subject. It's been 6 months. I don't know if I can do this anymore. But the worst part wasn't the confession. It was the forwarded email thread at the bottom. Ben Clayton was CC'd. 2 months into deployment, she was already confiding in him. So that's how it started. Not from grief. From grooming. The next night, Logan made contact. Not with Emily. Not with Ben. With someone far more dangerous, Melissa Dunn. Emily's former best friend. Now estranged. A woman with loose lips, a history of partying, and a habit of hating secrets when she wasn't part of them. They met at a gas station 30 minutes away. Logan waited near Pump 9. Melissa arrived late, shades on, chewing gum like she was preparing to spit truth as ammunition. So, you're not dead, she said without a hello. Logan nodded. You heard. I drank to it, she smirked. Emily cried on Facebook Live. Had, like, 200 people commenting stay strong. Made a fundraiser and everything. Even got a damn tattoo of your name on her ribs. What a performance. He didn't flinch. She and Ben. Logan asked carefully. Melissa laughed, one harsh puff of air. Oh, honey. She started sleeping with him while you were still Skyping from base. I caught them once, New Year's party. She told me it was just a phase. Said she'd break it off. Instead, she broke off our friendship. Did she ever say anything about faking the paperwork? Melissa raised an eyebrow. No, but she was seeing some lawyer dude around then. Sleazy type. I figured it was about life insurance or taxes or whatever. Why? Logan pulled a small USB from his pocket. This drive has proof she falsified a federal death record, he said. I'm building a case. I need someone who knows how she thinks. Melissa whistled low. "I'm in," she said. "But not for you. For that kid. Daniel's sweet. Doesn't deserve to grow up thinking Ben's his dad." Logan nodded. That was the only reason that mattered. By day 6, Logan had cracked Ben's second phone number using public records and reverse lookup software. It was linked to a burner tied to a fake business entity, CNH Ventures. When he followed the trail, he found a luxury condo downtown, 2 female names tied to cash transfers, 1 consulting retreat in Miami. During Daniel's spring break, Emily had traveled, too. Claimed it was a school art conference. But there were no photos. No public posts. Only a flight booking under Clayton, Ben, and Hart, Emily. They'd gone together. Logan couldn't feel pain anymore. Only forward motion. With Melissa's help, he mapped Emily's routines. Tracked Ben's consulting meetings. Hacked the old nanny cam system Emily never uninstalled from her first phone. The footage that surfaced was enough. One video showed Ben in Logan's home office, shredding documents with military headers. Another clip showed him opening his safe, Logan's safe, pulling out a black folder, flipping through classified project outlines. That was more than betrayal. It was a federal crime. Logan saved the clips. Labeled. Dated. Evidence. Real. Damning. Timed. On day 10, he made his first real move. He mailed Emily a sealed envelope. No return address. Inside, a still image of Ben tucking Daniel into bed. A copy of Logan's death certificate. A post-it that read, "Dead men don't take pictures." No name. No threat. No demand. Just enough to crack her nerves. By that evening, Emily was on the phone. Not to Logan. To Ben. Melissa had hacked her voicemail inbox earlier that day. The message came in at 9:37 p.m. Emily, panicked. "I don't know how he got that." "Did you tell someone?" "You said everything was deleted." Ben, cold, relax. If he had proof he was alive, he'd be knocking on the door, not playing detective. Probably some psycho. "We'll tighten things up. If he shows up, I'll handle it." Logan rewound the line 3 times. "I'll handle it." Like Logan was some footnote. A loose thread. No, he was the match. And their little empire? About to burn. The next 48 hours, Logan spent in prep mode. He copied every digital file onto encrypted drives. He printed photos, organized timeline boards, created a truth file with copies of the death certificate, travel records, financial transfers, voicemail recordings, hidden cam footage. Then he delivered 2 packages. One to Captain Hayes, his former military superior, now stationed at a recruitment base nearby. The other to Detective Lydia Cho, a family friend of Melissa's and a by-the-book officer with zero tolerance for corruption. The truth wasn't just revenge now. It was a legal wrecking ball. That night, Logan finally let himself sit outside the house again. No camera. No clipboard. Just him. Watching. Waiting. The porch light flickered again. Inside, Ben walked past the living room window, drink in hand, casual as ever. Emily followed, now visibly tense, glancing over her shoulder every few minutes. Daniel wasn't there, likely staying at a neighbor's or already asleep upstairs. The house didn't look like a home anymore. It looked like a crime scene in slow motion. And Logan? He was the witness that wouldn't disappear this time. Emily stood in the kitchen, staring at the opened envelope on the marble counter. Her fingers trembled, though she tried to hide it. She must have stared at that post-it for 20 straight minutes. Dead men don't take pictures. Ben leaned against the fridge with a cold beer in hand. His jaw clenched. "This is someone messing with us," he muttered. "A sick freak who wants attention." Emily whispered, "But what if it's him?" Ben took a long sip and didn't answer. The silence said everything. Meanwhile, less than 3 blocks away, Logan Hart was already 3 steps ahead. He sat in a dark garage beside Melissa Dunn, laptop open, video files loading into cloud storage. She handed him a burner phone and motioned to the progress bar ticking up. "Voicemail recordings are uploading," she said. "What's next?" Logan pointed to the whiteboard he'd dragged into the space. A timeline. Names. Red string across dates and transactions. One word circled in bold red at the center. Truth. That same day, Logan launched Phase 1. An anonymous email went out to 12 recipients, select neighbors, 3 faculty members at Daniel's school, and 2 former family friends. Subject line: what she did while he was serving body. They buried him before the body was cold. But what if the man she said was dead never died at all? See for yourself. Link to hidden cam photo. Link to the death certificate. Some lies live in silence. Others deserve a funeral. No name. No sender. No traceable IP. Just fuel. Enough to spark neighborhood gossip and crack the porcelain mask Emily wore in public. By that afternoon, her inbox was full of concerned replies. Is this real? Why didn't you tell me Ben moved in so fast? Did Logan really die overseas? Emily, what's going on? And at the grocery store that evening, Logan watched, put up, down the next aisle as Emily's hand shook so badly she dropped her wallet trying to pay. The cashier stared. The customer behind her muttered, "That's the one from the email." Emily turned and walked out without her receipt. Back at the motel, Logan's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. He pressed play. Emily, tense. "Lo, I don't know who you are. But if this is some twisted prank, you've made your point. I'm filing a police report. You come near me or my son again, I swear." Logan saved the voicemail. She didn't recognize the number. She still had no idea it was him. Good. Ben, however, was less composed. The next morning, Logan caught him in an alley behind a gas station, talking on his second phone. Melissa's software recorded the call in full. Ben, furious, "What do you mean the files weren't deleted? I gave you the damn flash drive. You said everything was gone." Unknown reply, "No. Listen, this is spiraling. Someone has the nanny cam footage. The banking records. All of it. If this goes public, I'm not going down alone." Logan paused the audio, rewound, played it again. "I'm not going down alone." There it was. Fear. Cracking at the seams. Later that night, Emily sat at the kitchen table, a glass of wine in her hand, staring at a printed copy of the death certificate. Her eyes were red, her breath shallow. She hadn't eaten. She hadn't spoken to Daniel more than a few words. She didn't know it yet. But Logan was watching her through a long-range camera from the tree line. And in that moment, she finally whispered it. "Logan, if you're alive, please don't destroy me." Logan didn't smile. He didn't even blink. This wasn't about destruction. It was about clarity. Phase 2 began the next morning. This time, the email went to a local podcast host who specialized in real-life betrayals and viral justice stories. Small town. Big lies. The subject: "I faked my husband's death until he came back." Attached, the death certificate footage of Ben entering Logan's private safe bank account transfers to an offshore fund. Voicemail from Emily crying about being exposed within hours. The host replied, "Is this real? This is explosive. We get this verified. It's front page kind of stuff. Source stays protected. Promise." Logan didn't answer. He just uploaded more files. At the same time, Logan arranged a face-to-face with Detective Lydia Cho, Melissa's friend, now fully looped into the case. They met at a private cafe downtown. Lydia reviewed the manila envelope in silence for 5 minutes straight. Her eyes scanned each page with the dispassionate calm of someone trained to spot lies. Then she closed the file slowly. "What you're sitting on," she said, "isn't just marital fraud. It's federal. Wire fraud. Forgery. False death record. Mishandling of classified intel. Possibly identity theft. This could bury them." Logan leaned forward. "I don't want drama. I want custody of my son. I want my name restored. And I want them exposed, publicly." She nodded. "You'll get your shot. But you better stay quiet. Because once this goes live, the whole town's gonna burn." Logan held her gaze. "Let it." That evening, Ben made his biggest mistake. He confronted Melissa, cornered her in the parking lot of her apartment building, pressed her against her car. "You're helping him, aren't you?" He spat. "Whatever game Logan's playing, you're feeding it." Melissa didn't flinch. She hit record on her phone before he could see. "Ben, aggressive, you think he's some hero?" He abandoned her. He left her alone for over a year. We took what he gave up. He grabbed her wrist. Melissa smiled. Smile, Ben. You're being recorded. She uploaded the video the moment she got inside. Phase 3 was underway. The podcast teaser went live. Tomorrow night, the soldier who came back from the dead. The comments exploded. The email inbox flooded. People guessed. Some denied. Some already knew. Emily tried to keep Daniel home from school, but it was too late. One teacher had received the email. A neighbor had recognized Logan from the photos. Rumors had already leaked to the school board. At pickup, another parent whispered to her, "Is it true? He's alive." Emily didn't answer. She just clutched Daniel's hand and walked to the car in silence. That night, Logan left a single manila envelope at her doorstep. Inside, a photo of Daniel at age 3, sleeping on Logan's chest, a copy of Daniel's birth certificate with Logan's name circled, a letter, typed, anonymous, brief. "I gave him everything. You gave him a replacement. Let's see what he chooses when he knows the truth." At 2:17 a.m., Emily finally broke. She called Logan's old number, disconnected. Then she tried her mother's, her sister's, Melissa. No one picked up. Then she opened her laptop and Googled something she should have never needed to type. Can a legally dead person sue you? Meanwhile, Logan and Melissa met with Detective Cho in a closed session downtown. Warrants were approved. Surveillance was now legal. And more importantly, Daniel's paternity and legal custody were back under review. "Your next move," Cho said, "has to be clean. Controlled. No confrontations." Logan nodded. "Just truth." Back at home, Ben poured himself a drink and muttered into his second phone, "If you don't make this go away, I swear I'll release everything we've got on the foundation." The withdrawals. Her signature on the Logan already had the audio. Already sent it to Lydia. Already prepared the backup drives. The net was closing. But Logan's next move wouldn't be silent. It would be public. And it would come with a name. Because the story was going live in 48 hours. And Logan Hart was about to remind the world, dead men don't stay buried forever. 8:01 p.m., the podcast episode dropped. Not just a teaser. The full broadcast. 38 minutes of betrayal, falsified documents, audio recordings, hidden camera footage, and one cold fact. Logan Hart was alive. The man everyone believed had died overseas, never died at all. And the woman who cried at his funeral? She forged it. Emily was in the living room when it hit. Daniel had just gone to bed. She was curled up on the couch, glass of red wine in hand, barely keeping herself together. Her phone lit up. 20 missed texts. 6 voicemails. One headline, "The Widow Who Lied. Husband returns to find his family replaced." She stared at it. Then her phone started ringing again. This time, her mother. Emily hesitated, then answered. "Emily," her mom said. "What the hell did you do?" Across town, Ben Clayton was 3 drinks deep, sitting in his condo office with the volume turned all the way up. The host's voice echoed through the room like judgment from above. Tonight's episode is not fiction. It's a real case, with verified documents, voice recordings, and one of the most disturbing betrayals we've ever covered. A husband declared legally dead, while his wife built a new life with someone else. He didn't vanish. He didn't cheat. He served. And when he returned, his name was erased, his bank accounts emptied, and his child, already calling someone else dad. Ben closed his laptop, breathing hard. His face wasn't mentioned. Yet. But the clips? The photos? Anyone who knew him would know. Meanwhile, Logan didn't listen to the podcast. He didn't need to. He lived it. Instead, he stood outside a quiet brick building, the elementary school Daniel attended, watching through the tinted windows of his parked car. He didn't have visitation. Not yet. But that would change soon. Because tomorrow, Logan wasn't going to stay invisible. He was going to walk into the school alive and demand to be seen. Inside the house on Haversham Lane, Emily's facade finally cracked. She turned on every light. She locked every door. Then she pulled Daniel's baby albums from the shelf and flipped through them like she could somehow erase the storm outside. Every photo had Logan in it. Every smile was real. She began crying so violently she had to grip the counter just to stay upright. But it was only beginning, because the next morning, Logan walked through the school's front doors. The receptionist blinked. "Can I help you, sir?" Logan smiled calmly and slid his ID across the counter. "Logan Hart. I'm Daniel's biological father. I have urgent business with Principal Hargrove." The receptionist's eyes widened. She stared at the ID, at him, then reached for the phone with trembling fingers. 10 minutes later, the principal's office was silent. Logan sat across from the older man, who shuffled nervously behind his desk. "This is unexpected," the principal said. "We were informed you'd passed away. There was a death certificate filed." "There was," Logan said. "It was fake." He handed over a folder. Inside, his deployment records, DNA paternity confirmation, a signed letter from Detective Lydia Cho verifying identity, and legal activity. Hargrove looked like he might throw up. "You're not here to cause a scene, are you?" he asked. Logan shook his head. "I'm here to unerase myself, and to start the process for supervised visitation. My son doesn't even know I exist. I plan to fix that." The principal stared at him, then quietly nodded, and wrote down a phone number. Across town, the dominoes began falling. Melissa's leaked clip of Ben grabbing her wrist hit social media. She posted it with a short caption, "You erased the wrong man." It gained 14,000 views in 4 hours, then 37,000. Then local outlets started calling. Emily tried to reach out to Melissa to beg her to take it down. Melissa didn't respond. She didn't need to. The world was already watching. Ben, on the other hand, wasn't ready to go down quietly. He made his own move cowardly and rushed. He filed for an emergency restraining order against Logan, claimed he was stalking the home, threatening the family, and emotionally manipulating the child. But Logan had receipts, and so did Lydia. The court received GPS timestamps of Logan's movements, surveillance footage showing Logan never approached the house, a witness statement from Melissa confirming Ben's physical intimidation, a recorded voicemail from Ben admitting he'd handle it if Logan showed up. Result: restraining order denied. But now Logan had Ben's lie on court record, and it would only add weight to what came next. At the Hart versus Clayton custody hearing, an emergency family court session arranged in less than 72 hours, Emily showed up looking 10 years older, pale, nervous, jaw clenched. Ben didn't show up. He claimed he had a conflict. The judge, a gray-haired woman with a sharp voice, reviewed the evidence in silence for 15 minutes. Then she looked at Emily. "You filed a death certificate for your husband. Signed it yourself. Without a body. Without verification. Is that correct?" Emily's voice barely came out. I thought you filed for life insurance. Empty joint accounts. Co-signed a consulting LLC using your married name. And introduced your new partner to your child, telling him his father was gone. Is that correct?" Emily said nothing. The judge turned to Logan. "Mr. Hart, what is it you want?" Logan didn't blink. "I want my name back. My son to know the truth. And the people who buried me alive to face what they built." The courtroom fell silent. The judge leaned back. "You'll have supervised visitation starting this week. Your full legal status will be restored by month's end. As for further charges, that's not up to me. But I suggest Ms. Hart retain a lawyer. And fast." Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. They hadn't seen Logan in 18 months. He didn't give a statement. But one camera caught him walking down the courthouse steps with Daniel's photo in his hand. The image went viral in less than a day. That night, Emily packed a bag. She left the house. No one knew where she went. Not even Ben. Especially not Ben. Because the FBI had just opened a case on Clayton and Hart Consulting, LLC, and the offshore accounts tied to it. Ben's phone rang at 1:14 a.m. It wasn't Emily. It was Agent Trammell, and he had a few questions about a safe Ben once opened, on camera. Meanwhile, Logan sat in a small room inside the Child Services office, a toy car in one hand, a cup of juice in the other. Then the door opened, and Daniel walked in, eyes wide, small, cautious. The counselor stepped aside. Logan stood slowly, didn't say a word. He just knelt down. Daniel looked at him, confused, studying his face. Then softly, "Do I know you?" Logan smiled, just a little. "You used to call me Daddy." Silence. Daniel's eyes blinked, shifted, then narrowed, and in the faintest voice, "You smell like the bear." Logan froze. The bear. The old stuffed one he used to sleep with every night. Logan's aftershave had always rubbed off on it. Daniel stepped closer, then reached out, touched Logan's hand, and didn't pull away. The counselor watched, stunned. Logan? He didn't cry, but his hands shook. Because the truth wasn't just public anymore. It was personal. It was alive. And it was looking back at him with soft brown eyes he'd never stopped loving. Emily's world collapsed over the next 7 days. Her school board suspended her. The PTA voted her out. Her GoFundMe page was shut down after fraud complaints. Her tattoo? She covered it. Her inbox? Death threats and pity in equal measure. And Ben? He was under investigation for laundering over $600,000 across 3 shell companies. The final blow came when the media leaked a video of Ben yelling at Daniel outside a daycare, frustrated and careless, calling Logan a ghost who should have stayed dead. That clip ended Ben's reputation. But Logan's? It did the opposite. Dead to her. Alive for revenge. And now, reborn. Not for war. Not for violence. But for his son. The morning Logan arrived for his 3rd supervised visit with Daniel, the counselor looked rattled. Not cautious. Not concerned. Rattled. Logan noticed the second he stepped through the door. She barely made eye contact. Fumbled with the clipboard. Smiled too wide. "Is everything all right?" he asked, keeping his voice even. She hesitated, then said, "There was a delay with the case file today. Some documents were pulled. Standard protocol." Standard protocol? Logan didn't believe in coincidences anymore. Especially not when they involved files. Especially not when the woman who once forged his death certificate had just lawyered up with one of the top defense firms in the state. Daniel entered the room, clutching a Lego figure in one hand. "Look," he said proudly, holding it out. "He has a shield now." Logan knelt, took the little warrior gently. "He's ready for anything," he said. "Just like you." Daniel smiled and sat on the floor. Logan joined him, but his mind wasn't there. Something wasn't right. Later that night, Logan met Melissa in her apartment. She had updates. "Emily's new lawyer," she said, pulling up her laptop. "Guess who he's connected to?" She turned the screen. A man in a tailored suit. White teeth. Thin smile. Calder Lawson. Former federal prosecutor. Now private defense. But more importantly, on the board of directors for a defense contracting firm called Davis Mark Systems. Logan stared at the name. That was the same firm he had briefed twice before his final deployment. The same group that had classified access to operational logs, including the one that triggered his off-the-grid assignment. And just like that, it snapped into place. This wasn't just betrayal. This was orchestrated. "Dig into Davis Mark," Logan said. "Everything. Contracts, offshore entities, who sits on their security council. Cross-check it with Emily's financials." Melissa raised an eyebrow. "You think they're involved in your death being faked?" "I don't think." "I know." He stood up. "They didn't just help her erase me. They profited from it." 3 hours later, Melissa called from the bedroom, voice tight. "You need to see this." Logan walked in. She turned the laptop. There it was. A wire transfer, $85,000 from Davis Mark Systems to an account belonging to Emily Hart. Labeled, consulting fee. Dated, 2 weeks after Logan's death was declared. Beneath that, a matching deposit to Ben Clayton. Same amount. Same sender. Same memo. Consulting, Logan repeated coldly. That's the lie they told. Melissa scrolled again. Here's the real twist. She clicked open an email chain, hacked from Ben's cloud backup before he scrubbed the phone. From Calder Lawson to Ben Clayton, Emily Hart, all paperwork processed. Congratulations. No flags triggered. You're officially in the clear. Recommend immediate liquidation of joint accounts within 30 days before records enter inactive status. Thank you for your discretion. Logan's pulse didn't rise. It dropped. Because Calder wasn't just helping Emily and Ben cheat. He was clearing a path, using federal infrastructure to make Logan's erasure seem legitimate. That death certificate? Not just a lie. It had been federally validated. They sold your disappearance, Melissa whispered. Logan's voice was ice. No, he looked her dead in the eyes. They sold me. The next day, Logan sat across from Detective Lydia Cho. He laid out the evidence. Showed her everything. Transcripts. Transfers. The ties to Davis Mark. She didn't speak for a full 5 minutes. Then finally said, Jesus Christ, can you touch this? Logan asked. Lydia shook her head slowly. This is federal. Above me. Above our DA. Calder Lawson doesn't get his hands dirty unless the stakes are international. So I go to the feds? Logan said. She nodded. Or, you go louder. Logan raised an eyebrow. Media? He asked. She leaned in. No. Congressional leak. Find the right ears, the right headline. And this becomes a public firestorm. Logan didn't waste time. He called an old friend from deployment, Mason O'Reilly, now working as a national security analyst for an independent oversight group based out of D.C. They met in a coffee shop that weekend. Mason listened, stone-faced, as Logan unspooled it all. The betrayal, the forgery, the payments, the ties to Davis Mark. Then Mason leaned back in his chair. I remember your assignment, he said. Operation Breakline. Half the files were sealed, even from us. But there were rumors. What kind of rumors? Logan asked. That Davis Mark used the op as a black budget testing ground. New recon tech. Unapproved tracking systems. Stuff that shouldn't have been live. Logan's stomach turned. Was I being watched? Worse, Mason said. You might have been left out there on purpose. Disposable. One less witness. Logan clenched his fists. So what now? Mason slid a folder across the table. In 2 days, I'm testifying in front of a congressional subcommittee on defense contractor fraud. You want in? Give me a name. Just one. Someone you want in that room when this story goes public. Logan didn't hesitate. Calder Lawson. Back in town, Emily was falling apart. Her lawyer stopped returning her calls. Her bank account had been frozen. Her name was trending again, this time not as a victim. She tried to email Daniel's counselor, asked to reschedule Logan's visits. The response? Denied. All visitation decisions now fall under state review. Please refer to court supervision. She tried calling Ben. No answer. Then finally, she drove to his condo and found the front door wide open. Ben was gone. The condo empty. The closet stripped. He'd vanished. The next morning, Logan received a package. No return address. Inside, a phone. Preloaded. One message. You think this ends with us? They used you. You exposed them. They'll come for the kid next. Walk away while you still can. It wasn't signed. But Logan knew that tone. Ben. Still watching. Still trying to scare him. But this time, Logan wasn't the scared one. That evening, Logan returned to the supervised center for his next visit. Daniel looked up when he walked in. Grinned. Daddy, he said. Ran across the room. Hugged his leg. Logan knelt and held him tight. Nothing else mattered more than that moment. Nothing. Not revenge. Not justice. Just this. Restoring what never should have been taken. As Daniel played with crayons on the floor, Logan quietly passed a sealed envelope to the counselor. Inside, a signed affidavit, photos, audio, a letter to the state attorney's office. The letter ended with one line. If the law can't protect my son from what these people did, then the truth will. 2 days later, Logan sat in a hotel room in Washington, D.C., suit on, tie loose. Mason O'Reilly stood beside him. In the next room, congressional staffers were preparing slides. Among them, a headshot of Calder Lawson, a file labeled Davis Mark Systems, Civilian Exploitation Case number 88147, and a timestamp, 10 a.m., public hearing. Logan glanced at his phone. One new message. From an unknown number. Just 3 words. This isn't over. Logan stared at it, then deleted it. Because it was over. For Ben. For Emily. For the ghosts who buried him for profit. But for Logan? It was only just beginning. 10 a.m., U.S. Capitol Subcommittee Hearing Room C, 214 cameras clicked. The panel of congressmen leaned forward. The public gallery was packed, some military, some press, others unknown. Logan sat straight-backed in the witness chair, hands resting on a file folder stamped, classified, reclassified. The chairwoman, Representative Martinez, cleared her throat. "You are Mr. Logan Hart. Confirmed alive after being declared Kia in an official military report?" "Yes." "Yes, ma'am. And you allege that a defense contractor, Davis Mark Systems, not only participated in falsifying your death but benefited financially through direct payments to your spouse and her partner?" "I do." "Do you have proof?" Logan slid the folder across the table. Inside, wire transfers, email threads, legal filings, and a video, Ben Clayton, admitting on tape that he handled the paperwork. It was enough to freeze the room. But it wasn't over. Not yet. Later that afternoon, Capitol Press Room, the media fallout detonated like a precision strike. Every outlet had the headline, "Soldier returns from the dead, exposes contractor conspiracy. Fake widow, real money, the betrayal of Logan Hart. He came home to nothing, but left D.C. with justice." Emily's name was now permanent in every database of public disgrace. Ben Clayton's face had surfaced across financial crime boards, wanted by the Department of Justice. And Davis Mark? Their stock plummeted 18% in 2 hours. But for Logan, justice was still a flickering flame, not a full fire, because Daniel hadn't been returned to him yet. And the system didn't work as fast as pain did. That night, Logan returned to his hotel in Arlington and found an envelope slid under the door. No name. Inside, a flash drive. One file. He played it. The screen lit up with a grainy video, military briefing room, years old. In it, Captain Sean Draven, Logan's former commanding officer, stood before a table. "We can't leave him out there. It's one thing to stage cover-ops. It's another to let your own rot for profit." A voice off camera responded. Orders came from Lawson. "He's worth more missing than alive." Draven didn't protest. He nodded, approved it, and walked out. Logan froze. The man who trained him, who saluted him when he left the base, who gave the damn deployment orders. He was in on it. The next day, Logan confronted Lydia Cho. He slammed the laptop shut after playing her the file. Draven signed the death order. Cho nodded slowly. "He's retired. Lives in Montana now. Runs a veterans charity." Logan stared at her. Charity? Funded by who? She already had the file open. Davis Mark. Logan was done playing defense. That night, he called a journalist, Cara Ward, from the Tribune Report, the only one who hadn't sensationalized the story. "I want to give you an exclusive," he said. "But not about Emily." "Then what?" Cara asked. "About the men who greenlit my death." At the same time, Emily, broken, desperate, made her final move. She filed a civil suit against Logan for emotional distress. She claimed that his sudden reappearance and public campaign traumatized her and Daniel, damaged her career, and put them in danger from internet hate. The world laughed. But Logan didn't, because civil suits still required response. And courtrooms held evidence. In court, Logan didn't flinch. He let his lawyer play every voicemail, show every transfer, read every lie. But the moment that broke the room? When Daniel's voice was played. "You smell like the bear you used to call me daddy." Even the judge exhaled slowly, then said, "Ms. Hart, you faked a death, spent the payout, erased a man from his child's life, and now want to sue him for surviving?" Case dismissed. Logan didn't look at Emily, but when he left the courtroom, she reached out. "Logan." "I didn't know what they were doing." He stopped, turned, and stared, then said, "You didn't care." That night, Logan's story aired on 60 Minutes. Not the affair, not the parenting drama, the cover-up. Captain Draven, Calder Lawson, the black budget erasure of inconvenient personnel. And Logan, the man who lived. America listened, and the calls for investigation turned into subpoenas. Meanwhile, Ben, still missing. until someone posted a blurry image of him in Thailand. Fake passport, shaved head, traveling with a man from Davismark. But he wasn't invisible. Interpol issued a red notice. The State Department froze his assets. He was a fugitive now. And Logan? He was whole. 1 week later, Daniel sat beside Logan in a state-approved apartment. The boy played with Legos. Logan watched him with quiet awe. Daniel looked up. Will I stay here forever? Logan smiled softly. No, forever is too long. But I'll be here, as long as you need. Daniel nodded, then whispered, I remember your voice, Daddy. Logan swallowed hard. Good, he said, because I never stopped using it to find you. Day 94. 3 months since Logan Hart walked out of that motel with a camera, a notebook, and no identity. Now he sat across from the subcommittee on government oversight, testifying again, but this time televised live. Not as a grieving father, not as a betrayed husband, but as a man whose life had been turned into policy. Cameras rolled. Microphones flicked on. Representative Martinez sat with arms folded as she read the opening statement. We are here today to question the integrity of military contracting systems and to hear from a man whose life was falsified, whose identity was erased, and whose child was stolen under government-sanctioned silence. Mr. Hart, thank you for your courage. Logan nodded once, calm. I didn't come here to relive what they did to me, he said. I came here to show you what they'll do to others, if no one stops them. He placed a single flash drive on the table. Inside, Draven's voice, Calder's emails, the finance trail, and the names of 6 other operatives listed as dead who might not be. The room went still. 6 others. Martinez asked slowly. Logan met her gaze. I thought I was the only one, but I wasn't their first ghost. That night, the clip went viral. I wasn't their first ghost, Logan Hart, live. By midnight, it had 3.1 million views. By dawn, DoD Internal Affairs opened a task force. And for the first time, Logan wasn't chasing truth. Truth was chasing them. Emily saw it on a TV at a gas station. She froze. People around her whispered, That's her. That's the one who faked it. She took the payout, right? Emily left the pump running and drove off. That night, she filed for permanent relocation out of state. It was denied. Meanwhile, Lydia Cho called Logan with an update. They raided Calder's office this morning. Took everything. And Draven? Logan asked. Gone. Vanished overnight. Logan exhaled. They're burning the trail. But not fast enough, Lydia added. You've gone too public. They can't make this disappear now. Then she paused. There's something else. And you're not gonna like it. Logan braced. Lydia continued. One of the congressional investigators on your case? He's been leaking sealed evidence, directly to Davismark. Logan stood. Who? Representative Sloan. Midwest seat. He's on the payroll. Logan didn't scream. Didn't punch walls. He walked to the window, stared out at the Capitol dome, and whispered, Then we take it to the people. The next morning, Logan went on national television. Not for a news interview. For a town hall broadcast, hosted live on network TV, no teleprompters, no filters. Cara Ward moderated. Audience packed. Veterans. Parents. Whistleblowers. Media. She began simply. Logan, what would you say to the people who tried to erase you? He didn't flinch. I'd say this, erasing me didn't work. And the more you hide, the louder I'll speak. Because this isn't just about what they did to me. It's about what they'll do next, unless someone lights the fuse. Cara leaned in. And what fuse is that? Logan stared into the camera. The public one. 10 hours later, Logan's full digital case file was uploaded to a secure public archive. Every dollar, every lie, every voice, every name. Crowdsourced. Open. Traceable. By midnight, #HeartTruth trended #1 worldwide. And by morning, a protest formed outside Davismark's headquarters. Thousands of people. Photos of Logan. Signs that read, You can't kill the truth. He came back. So will the rest. But with visibility came danger. That night, as Logan walked to his apartment from a late-night interview, he noticed a car parked across the street. Same car. 2 nights in a row. Same dent in the bumper. Tinted windows. Watching. He didn't go home. He walked past, pulled out his phone, and hit speed dial. Mason, I'm being tailed. You armed? Not tonight. Good. Go to Plan B. Logan turned sharply down an alley, disappeared behind a maintenance gate. Plan B was a safe house, hidden through Mason's private security contacts. He wouldn't be caught sleeping. Not again. Inside the safe house, Logan reviewed his files again. He was preparing a presentation for the House Intelligence Committee. But as he scanned the digital folder of known ghost operatives, he froze. There, at the bottom, a file recently added by Mason's analyst team. Subject, Hart, Nathaniel. Logan's breath stopped. That name. His older brother. Dead in 2004. Killed in a failed recon op in Syria. Body never recovered. But the report didn't list Kia. It listed, status, mission denied, asset transferred. Transferred? Logan's hands trembled. He clicked the file. A blurred photo. Taken 3 years ago. Time-stamped in Lebanon. It showed a man with Logan's jawline. Older, scarred, and alive. Mason called at that exact moment. You saw it, he said. Is it real? Logan asked. We've run it 3 times. Biometric match is 82%. That's not just a ghost, Logan. Logan sat down. Hard. My brother's not dead? Mason paused. Then said, if they did it to you, maybe they did it to him first. Everything shifted. This wasn't just a revenge story anymore. It was a pattern. A system. A machine that turned soldiers into assets, erased their records, sold their bodies into covert black markets, and called it patriotism. And Logan? He was about to burn the machine down. The room was dark, but the screen burned. Logan Hart sat still in the flicker of surveillance footage, frame frozen on a blurry man stepping out of a market in Beirut. Same gait. Same jawline. Same scar across the left temple that only 2 people in the world had ever known about. His brother had it first. And now Logan saw it again, 21 years after his supposed death. Nathaniel Hart. USMC. Declared Kia, 2004. Filed under mission lost. But never verified. Logan leaned back in the chair. His brother hadn't died. He'd been disappeared. Just like Logan was supposed to be. Mason's voice cut through the static. We traced the footage through 3 proxy cameras. It was never meant to be found. You don't use that many layers unless someone doesn't want a ghost traced. Do we know who uploaded it? Logan asked. Mason nodded grimly. Yeah, an ex-agent, codenamed Flint. Now buried deep in a data haven in Prague. He's been whistleblowing black market recon since 2015. Sent it to us anonymously 3 nights ago. Logan stared at the image again. Same face, but older, harder. Like someone who'd forgotten what his own name used to sound like. Why send it now? Logan asked. Mason didn't answer. He didn't need to. Because someone wanted Logan to find him. Or someone wanted Logan to chase a ghost. Either way, the trap was being set. That night, Logan stood at the window of the safe house, watching the alley. Nothing moved. But he didn't trust stillness anymore. Stillness had sharp things. His burner phone vibrated. Unknown ID. He answered. Didn't speak. A voice, male, filtered and distorted. They buried your brother the same way they buried you, paper first, body never. You're a symbol now, Hart. And symbols don't live long. Then the line went dead. No trace. The next morning, Lydia Cho showed up early, face pale, breath fast. There was a break-in, she said. Logan's stomach turned. Where? Your court-assigned visitation center. Last night. Someone tried to steal Daniel's records. Logan grabbed his coat. Did they get anything? No, she said. But we caught a partial plate. Government vehicle. Unmarked. No match in public registry. Logan's eyes darkened. It's starting. What's starting? She asked. He turned to her. Retaliation. Logan changed everything that day. He rerouted his and Daniel's upcoming visit to a private secured facility under Mason's network. He rerouted Melissa into hiding, gave her a false ID, burner phone, and location drop near Boulder. Then he contacted Cara Ward and gave her everything. Not just the legal evidence, not just the financial trail, but the list. The 6 ghost operatives who were listed dead but potentially alive. He said, "I want this aired within 48 hours. Full exposure. No censorship." Cara hesitated. "You sure you want to go this loud?" Logan stared into her eyes. "They came for my son." That night, Logan slept with a 9mm by his side. He didn't trust doors anymore. He didn't trust shadows. And the next morning proved why. June 14 to 3:24 a.m., Logan's safe house. The security alert hit Mason's phone first. Then the cameras glitched. Then the windows shattered. Logan grabbed the gun, pulled Daniel from the bed, and shoved the boy into the closet. "Stay here. Don't make a sound. No matter what." Daniel nodded, eyes wide but trusting. Logan closed the door gently. The hallway lights cut out. Silent footsteps crept down the hall. 2 men. Tactical. Gloves. Suppressed weapons. Logan didn't run. He waited. Watched the laser sweep past the door. Then he lunged. 1 shot. Chest. Down. The second man turned. Logan fired twice. Mississippi. Then, shoulder hit. The man stumbled. But before Logan could press, the second man threw a flash grenade into the kitchen window. Logan grabbed Daniel, shielded his body as glass exploded. By the time he looked up, the second man was gone. Footsteps. Screeching tires. Gone. The safe house was compromised. But Logan? Still breathing. Daniel? Still safe. And now? This wasn't just revenge. It was war. Later that morning, Logan met Mason in a fortified location downtown. Lydia joined them. She placed 2 files on the table. First, Operation Cascade, a top-secret Black Ops unit where Nathaniel Hart had once served. Second, Juno Directive, a contract signed between Davis Mark and private intelligence to erase unstable assets post-deployment under Budget Review Authority. Logan skimmed it, then looked up. "You mean anyone with PTSD, anyone that became a legal risk?" Lydia nodded. "They didn't just fake your death, Logan. They pre-cleared it. They made it policy." Hours later, Logan sat alone with Daniel again. The boy held his Legos. Talked about school. "Someone new is watching the gate at recess," he said. "He looks mean." Logan paused. "What do you mean, mean?" Daniel shrugged. "He doesn't smile. He's not like the other helpers. He just stares." Logan pulled out his phone and loaded the school's security camera logs Mason had tapped into weeks ago. There he was, a new volunteer, wearing a badge, looking directly into the camera and blinking. 3 times. It wasn't a blink. It was a signal, a message to Logan. "I see you." Logan called Lydia. "Pull Daniel out. Today. New school. New route." "You think they're watching?" Logan didn't answer. Because this wasn't about watching anymore. This was about timing. And someone out there had a clock ticking with Logan's name on it. That evening, Logan sat across from Cara Ward as she prepared the televised special. She handed him the final cut of the opening monologue. He read it silently, then looked up. "I want to record it myself." Cara blinked. "On camera?" "Yes." "Why?" Logan stared at her. "Because they erased my face. I want the world to see it now. Every wrinkle, every scar, every damn piece they tried to delete." She nodded. "Then let's shoot it now. Logan Hart. Live. On record. They didn't kill me. They tried to erase me. They said I was unstable, disposable, unnecessary. But I came home. I found my son. And I found the truth. This isn't about one soldier. This is about a system that values profit over people. My name is Logan Hart. I'm alive. And I'm not done." The segment aired 2 days later. 23 million views in 24 hours. Viral clips. International headlines. The man they couldn't delete. One father. One file. One fight. Davis Mark's CEO was subpoenaed. Calder Lawson was finally indicted. And a full investigation into Operation Cascade launched, public, transparent, and impossible to bury now. But Logan wasn't done. Because there was one ghost still unaccounted for. Nathaniel. 3 days later, Mason's contact from Prague came through. A decrypted message. A time. A location. Istanbul. Rooftop market. 9:17 p.m. Find the man who limps on the right. He knows where your brother is. Logan stared at the message, then packed a bag, kissed Daniel on the forehead, and walked out the door. Istanbul, 9:14 p.m., Karakoy rooftop market. Logan's heart moved like a shadow through the crowd. The city lights sparkled below the rooftop bazaar, rich orange lanterns hanging above rows of tea, scarves, jewelry. Tourists snapped photos. Locals haggled over dates and pistachios. But Logan wasn't here for postcards. He scanned every face, every limp, every small twitch of a right leg. Find the man who limps on the right, the encrypted message had said. His hand hovered near the grip of his concealed Glock. A decade of muscle memory kept him calm. But inside, his chest felt like fire and ice twisting together. If the message was real, then someone knew where his brother was. If it wasn't, he was walking into a trap. 9:17 p.m. Right on cue, a man appeared through the far entrance. Late 50s. Thick beard. Local dress. Limping, just slightly, on his right leg. He moved to the edge of the rooftop, sat beside an empty tea stall, and began cleaning his glasses. Logan approached. No names, the man said in English without looking up. Logan nodded. I'm not here for names. You're here for truth, the man replied. But truth comes with a cost. Logan stayed quiet. The man finally looked up. His eyes were clear, sharp, trained. You're the ghost who wouldn't stay buried. Logan said nothing. The man leaned in. Your brother's alive. But he's not the man you remember. Flashback. Fallujah, 2004. Nathaniel Hart was a legend in their unit. Strong. Silent. A natural leader. Then one mission went south. No body was recovered. Just a helmet and blood. Closed casket funeral. But now, that had all been a lie. Where is he? Logan asked. Not far. But he's under contract. Deep. Off-grid. Mercenary level. His memories were scrambled. Names removed. They call him Shade now. Logan's throat tightened. Shade. I need to see him. You don't just walk into Shade's world. You're either invited or bait. Logan stared at him. Then use me as bait. 12:42 a.m. Safe house in Istanbul. Logan waited alone. A single overhead bulb. No phone. No backup. No weapons allowed inside the meeting zone. The contact had arranged it. One location. 1 hour. One shot. At 12:47 a.m., a black SUV pulled up. 2 men exited. Silent. Armed. Logan didn't flinch as they scanned him. Then the back door opened. And there he was. Nathaniel Hart. Older. Scarred. His eyes colder than any battlefield Logan had seen. He stepped forward. Stopped 3 feet away. And said, You shouldn't have come. The silence stretched. Logan studied his face. The movements. The voice. It was him. But it wasn't. You remember me? Logan asked quietly. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Then he said, flatly, I remember being erased. He turned slightly. You ruined everything. You brought light to what was better left in shadow. Logan stepped closer. I didn't come for revenge. I came because you're my brother. And they used us. Nathaniel shook his head. They didn't use me. They rebuilt me. Logan felt the hit like a punch. They turned you into an assassin, Nate. Nathaniel looked him dead in the eyes. No, Logan. You did, when you brought cameras to the war. That's when the first shot rang out. Glass exploded above Logan's head. Ambush. Someone had followed them. Not from Nathaniel's side. Not from Logan's. But someone else, Davis Mark. They were here to clean house. No survivors. No ghosts. No loose ends. Logan ducked behind a metal beam. Nathaniel barked orders in Turkish. His men fired back. You brought them here. Logan shouted. Nathaniel growled. I told you. You don't walk into Shade's world. The firefight lasted 8 minutes. Logan shot 2. Nathaniel shot 4. When the dust cleared, 5 bodies lay in the alley. All wore black armor with no insignias. But one had a patch hidden inside his vest. DMS security, level 7 clearance. Proof. They weren't rogue actors. They were Davis Mark, official operatives. Back in the safe house, Logan sat on the floor, wiping blood from his arm. Nathaniel stared out the window. They wanted both of us gone, Logan said. Nathaniel replied, because we know too much. No, because we're proof that everything they built is a lie. Nathaniel finally looked at him, and this time the ice cracked. Why didn't you stay buried, Logan? He asked, voice soft. Honest. Logan stood slowly. Because I have a son, and I want him to grow up in a world where truth doesn't need permission. Nathaniel nodded once, then said, we need to end this. 2 days later, Athens. Hidden server farm. Logan and Nathaniel moved together, military rhythm still intact. Their target, a black server system nicknamed Aegis, Davis Mark's operational memory bank. Every file, every ghost, every erased name. Mason had secured a digital extraction route. One chance. 10 minutes. They breached the wall. Wires. Drives. Heat sensors. At 8:14 p.m., they connected the core. Files poured in. 12,407 names. 3,180 false death operations. 47 assassinations. $1.3 billion in off-book transfers. Then alarms flared. Heat signatures rising. Security incoming. 3 minutes. Mason barked through the earpiece. Logan covered the door. Nathaniel downloaded the master list. But Logan noticed something. A red file labeled Project Eclipse, Subject 001. L. Hart. He opened it. His own file. Inside, psychological breakdown predictions payout estimates if terminated an AI-generated obituary dated 2 weeks from now. They were still planning to finish him. Even now, even after all this. Logan ripped the drive free. Nate, let's go now. They sprinted down the corridor, guns up. Shots fired behind them. Nathaniel got clipped in the leg, grunted, but kept moving. At the roof exit, Logan turned. Saw 3 more guards climbing up. He dragged Nate to the edge, grabbed the rope. Now, as they descended, gunfire cracked above them. But they didn't stop. Back in Istanbul, underground extraction point, Logan handed the drive to Mason. This ends it, he said. Mason nodded. It'll take 24 hours to decrypt and distribute. After that, there's no putting this back in the bottle. Logan turned to Nathaniel. You with me when this hits? Nathaniel didn't answer. Then, nodded. For Daniel, he said. Logan nodded back. For everyone, they turned into numbers. That night, Logan's encrypted live stream to the world. My name is Logan Hart. I spent months proving I was alive. But now, I want to prove how many more like me were buried by paper, money, and fear. The file I'm releasing tonight is the truth they swore you'd never see. For the dead. For the erased. For the living who still wonder why their brothers never came home. This is for you. At 11:03 p.m., the file dropped globally. Governments shook. Davis Mark collapsed. The Senate launched full-scale investigations. And the world learned the truth. Ghosts were real. And the system had been feeding on them. 3 months later, Washington, D.C. The courtroom was packed. Cameras lined the back wall. Reporters scribbled. Spectators held their breath. Logan Hart stood near the prosecution table, clean-shaven, tailored suit, upright. Across the aisle sat Calder Lawson. Silent, pale, defeated. On the monitor behind the judge, the decrypted Aegis files were being reviewed live. Evidence shows coordinated erasure of over 3,000 U.S. operatives through falsified death protocols, financial embezzlement, and contractor exploitation, the prosecutors said. Mr. Lawson authorized and monetized these disappearances on record. Under oath, the judge turned to Calder. You have anything to say? Calder didn't lift his eyes. The judge spoke again, cold, final. Life imprisonment. No parole. Outside the courthouse, Logan stepped into sunlight. Reporters swarmed. Mr. Hart, how does it feel? He didn't answer. He just walked. Quietly. Calmly. Free. Later that week, Logan's home. Daniel sat on the porch, swinging his legs off the edge. He held a small wooden box. Logan joined him. The boy opened the lid. Inside, 2 medals. One photo, Logan and Nathaniel in uniform. And a single note, handwritten in black ink. Asterisk, I stayed in the dark so you could step into the light. Keep your son safe. In asterisk, Daniel whispered, he saved you? Logan looked at the box. He saved all of us. Daniel leaned his head against Logan's side. Are you going to stop now? Fighting. Logan smiled gently. Only if no one needs saving. That night, national broadcast a documentary aired. Erased. The men they buried too early. Logan's voice narrated the final line. They thought I was broken, but I came back stronger. Not to punish, but to remind the world some truths will never stay buried. Final scene. Daniel's school. Parent Day. Daniel stood at the front of the class, holding a drawing. My hero, he said, holding it high. A stick figure in a black shirt. A little boy beside him, both with shields. That's my dad, he said proudly. He came back for me. At the back of the room, Logan stood, quiet, watching. A small smile, then a deep breath. Because after all the fire, this was the only battle that ever mattered. Where in the world are you watching this story from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I'd love to see how far this story has traveled. If this journey moved you, if you felt something real while watching it, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who's ever been quietly silenced, or someone who needs to be reminded that truth never stays buried. And if you want more powerful stories like this every week, just hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time with another truth worth hearing.